So hello everyone, it's your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're going to get into ranking all of my recent palette purchases. So I try to do it every 2 to 3 months. I started doing this when I saw my girl Karen Harris. Of course, when is there a video? I can't talk about Karen Harris, but I started doing this because I saw Karen doing it, and I thought it was kind of cool because I'm like, you know, you get to rank all the stuff over time after you've used it for a while instead of just your initial like first impressions. That's why I do it. I know she said she does it to keep track of her palette purchases. I don't really care about my palette purchases. Whatever I buy, I buy. Whatever I don't, I don't. But you know, it gives a different idea and I guess a different perspective, and it might help you as far as money goes, so I can understand why she does it that way. But I just do it so you all can know if my feelings have changed on anything instead of me having to come back and say it later. So let's get started because we have like 18 palettes to talk about, and we know I talk too damn much, so let's get to it. I usually rank them according to like categories. So I'll usually do like indie, and then I'll do affordable, and then I'll do like high end, and then I'll do like I might have like influencer brands or something, but this time I just like stacked them up and was like, yeah, we just gonna do it like this because anybody got time for all that. I wasn't in the mood today. So without all of, you know, getting into all of that, let me finally get started because like I said, it's 18 palettes and we finna be here in minutes. So 18 dead last. I mean, I thought this palette was absolutely terrible. Karen thought it was bad too, so it's not just me. Because I always feel like sometimes when I say stuff is bad and then everybody else is talking about how wonderful it is, I'm like, is it just me? And I was watching one of Karen's videos yesterday and she was saying the same thing. I'm like, thank you, because I swear I be feeling like it's just me. Anyway, what's dead last to me is the Alter Ego Blooms palette. I thought this palette was terrible. Like, absolutely dreadfully awful. As soon as this video is over, like, you will find it on my Mercari page. I can't. I can't. And my Alter Ego palettes do pretty well on my Mercari page because I just mailed off the Artemis and the Daydream palette a couple of days ago. And the Daydream palette just arrived at the girl's house today. But anyway, this is what it looks like. It's supposed to be a dupe for the Love palette, and I already own the Love palette, so you all know I was trying to do a comparison for you, for people who don't want to buy the Love palette, since I mean, I think that was $65. If I remember correctly, those are $55 or $65, which is still kind of high for one eyeshadow palette if you're not used to buying luxury like I am. So yeah, don't waste your money on this. This is terrible. Their cream to powder formula is absolutely awful. I thought the Artemis palette was awful, and it made me not want to try Metropolis, even though I've heard wonderful things about Metropolis just by trying that formula. I was like, hell no. This palette is terrible. Do not buy it. Do not waste your coin. I know Karen has a code, but I'm not even going to refer to you to Karen's code because that palette is just terrible. The hot water trash. Just don't buy it. Okay, so number 17 is the Musée Beauty Le Jardin palette. And this is the palette Karen was talking about. She said she felt like the formula was different in it. And I'm like, I knew something wasn't right about it. I didn't know what was wrong with it, but I knew something wasn't right because I was like, the Van Gogh palette doesn't perform like this, and neither does the Impressionist palette. So I don't know. It gave off too much of a light wash of color for me, and I wasn't feeling that. So that's why I personally didn't like this palette. It was limited edition though, so I'm trying to decide if I should keep it in my collection just for like collector's purposes as far as makeup goes, because I know I'm never going to use this palette. But at the same time, I feel like I should sell it because I'm like, somebody else might actually want to try it and they might genuinely like it while it's just sitting in my collection with all the other palettes that sit over here, because I literally have like 1, 2, 3 like shelves of just palettes in plastic containers. So I'm like, I don't know, but the point is it's number 17 because I don't like the formula of this. I don't feel like this works well for people my skin tone. And if you want to see the video on it, I'll try to remember to link as many videos as I can remember to up there. I'll probably just rank the lower ones so you can see how they performed and why they got put in the spot they got put in. But that's number 17. So number 16 is the Pie palette from Glam Lightning. Now I bought this because Karen Harris kept raving about it, and they had a no, this was 50% off during the National Pie Day. So I just went ahead and bought it then. This is what it looks like on the inside. Now this definitely is a color story I like. It's just more of, we know I am usually more of a colorful girl, so this is more of the neutral mauve tones stuff for when I do want a boring look. But since I rarely want a boring look, as we can see I have color on right now, this is not necessarily something I'm gonna reach for that often. So it had nothing to do with the formula of the stuff, because I actually like the formula of their neutral shadows more than I like the formula of their colorful shadows. I eat Ice Cream Dream. I just hate that palette. I'm sorry. So I would recommend this one or another one that's coming in later on. But yeah, I really liked this palette and the quality of it. I just know I'm not going to reach for it. And as you see, the blush hasn't been touched just because when palettes have like face products in them, I have a tendency not to touch them. Like the Colored Rain Cheers to the Beauty palette. I love that highlighter. It's a gorgeous highlighter, but I don't ever reach for it because, you know, who's doing that? I'm not going to go to the eyeshadow palettes to get a face product. it needs to be in a face palette or it needs to be a single. And I know they sell that in a single, but then I feel like I already own it, so why would I buy it? So it's just a vicious, horrible cycle that you should never get into. Anyway, number 6, what is this, number 16? No, 15. Sorry, number 15 is the Made by Mitchell Head in the Clouds palette. So I bought these when he had a 40% off sale on his website recently. I meant to buy it on box day, but then I ended up not getting it. So this one is number 15 just because this is my preferred color story from his palette. He has the feet on the ground, and of course that one is more by color story. So you'll see it later on in the video, but this is what it looks like. I mean, I got 3 nice looks out of it. You'll see the video. I believe it's toward the week of my mom's birthday, which is the week of the 16th of April. So I think it's around like the 12th or something this video comes up. But it's not a bad palette. It's just the color story doesn't inspire me. And y'all know usually I'll be like, oh, well, I'm thinking about doing a look with this, this, and this. And that video, like, when you see it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because every look, I just came back on camera with a look. Because it's like I didn't have any inspiration when I looked at it. Because I feel like the colors are just scattered everywhere. And it's just not a vibe for me. So I'm not with it. But the formula is nice. It's just that color story compared to the other color story is not my vibe at all. So this is the next Glam Light palette I was talking about. This is the chocolate donut palette. Now, no Karen hates the packaging on this palette. I mean, I understand why she does because it feels really rubbery and annoying. It feels like some inflatable toy that you play with in a pool. And I mean, like, I don't know where they're going with that, but you know, whatever. Formula on this is actually quite amazing. Karen was right about that. The formula is really nice, which is inspired me to buy it. And I actually really like this highlighter too. I've used this inner corner. I think I've used it on my face once when I used this palette. I don't remember, but it performs really nice. I accidentally dug my brush into that shade right there, which irritates me whenever that happens. But it's a nice formula. I like the formula on this a little bit better, and I know like this is a go-to. I can put it on when I need to rush and go do something I want to look halfway decent and not have to worry about it. Whereas with the other one, because it's those red and more mauve tones, I feel like I would have to blend those out better. Because this is more skin tone friendly to my skin tone, I feel like it works better, and that is why it is number 14. So number 13 is the Limoncello palette from Colourpop. You all actually saw this video this week. I think it came out like Wednesday or Thursday. I don't remember. You all didn't seem that excited about it though, but I just wanted to try it out and see if it was going to be the good formula, the bad formula, plus the aesthetic of the palette, and then the pop of blue and like the dual chromey shades and the green kind of just drew me in. So I went ahead and bought it. I hadn't bought in Colourpop like in a while before then though. So when I bought this is when I bought that Bambi collection and the other video I showed you. And I ended up ordering Liz McGuire, so I'm just waiting for that to show up, and then you all will see that coming too. And I have a palette that I feel like is a dupe for it from an indie brand, so I'm like, are they out here trying to dupe indie brands, Colourpop? So you have to wait for that coming soon. Hopefully it'll come next week because they said they shipped my order, so I just have to wait for it to get here to Sweet Home Chicago. Yeah, but this palette is really nice. The formula on this is actually quite good, and y'all know Colourpop's formula has been up and down lately and a whole bunch of foolishness going on. First of all, I appreciate there's no glitters in here. Second of all, I appreciate there's no sequence shades in here, because I have a video coming up about things I don't want to see in palettes anymore, and 2 of those things that I just named are things I don't want to see in them anymore. But other brands don't seem to get it, because now Mented Cosmetics is trying to come up with glitter pots. I mean, I appreciate that's a pot, so that way I'm not forced to use it, but it's like at the end of the day, I don't want it at all. Just send it to someone else. Send it to Jesus. Take it to the king. I don't want it. But this palette was really nice, and the formula of this is really nice. And if you notice, like, they made bigger pans in this, because the normal Colourpop pans are much smaller. So I'm wondering if the Liz McGuire one is going to have bigger pans like this, if it's going to be the normal standard palette pans. Because I am genuinely intrigued to find out. But this is number, what is this, 13? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is number 13. Hold please while I check. Okay, so I was right. It was number 13. So now we're on to number 12. So I did a video on this. You all didn't seem to really care. I understand it's like kind of a boring palette. Not to mention, I didn't get it when it initially came out. I think this was like the holiday release for this brand, and it just didn't really speak to me that much. I was like, if I could get it on sale, I told you all I would get it. So I found it on sale, and then I got it. This is the Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse. So you all know I like Manny's makeup brand. I like his formulas. But when you see the inside of this palette, you'll see why I waited so long to get it. And see why it's ranked where it's ranked. Because the formula of it is good. This is number 12, by the way. But as you can see, the color story isn't something that's exciting to me. This shade reminds me of Dirty Money from Desi and Katie's palette. And then it has these nice blues here on the bottom. And then it has a neutral row in the middle. If you all haven't noticed, I feel like he has kind of changed it up a little bit. And I was shocked to see that just about every shade in here worked for my skin tone, which I definitely appreciated and liked about this, which I think is why it's as high up as it is, because although it has like this really light shade, this shade still shows up on my skin tone, which I was surprised about. And this, I feel like a lot of the shades were deeper than they look in the pan, which to me in one part is a good thing. But I want to do a video on palettes that have deceiving color stories, because it's like you put it on your, you see it in the pan and then you put it on your eye and it's a totally different color than it is in the pan, and you feel some type of way. I know I feel some type of way. But anyway, let me stop getting off track. The formula on this is really nice. The color story is really nice. I just wasn't in a rush to get it because of the color story. Because at the end of the day, we all know I'm going to usually gravitate toward this bottom part. And if I do a neutral look, it'll probably be something simple like this, or I'll use the silver, and that'll be it. So, although the formula is really nice and I really like the brand, I just didn't rush to buy this for that reason, which I understand why you all didn't want to watch the video. But it's number 12. Moving on. Number 11 is the Ethereal Bloom palette from Artist Couture. Now, y'all know I love Artist Couture, but I feel like sometimes his palettes go like up and down when it comes to quality. Like the Caliente palette, I was not really that big a fan of at all. The Supreme News, it took me a while to get into it because I guess it was because of the color story. It wasn't the formula, it was the color story. But this one, y'all know I immediately hopped on board and was all about it, because what am I? I'm a sucker for pastel palettes. What is this? It is a pastel palette. Now, the reason this one got rated lower than another pastel palette I have is just because I feel like the color story leaves you kind of limited. And I always just look at this as like a monochromatic palette to like use. So it's like I'm going to pair this one with this one, or I'll do this one with this one. Now, I did mix it to where I use this all over the lid, in the crease, use this all over the lid, and then I put like the purple shimmer in the inner corner. But it's like I don't really see myself doing too much of that often. I'm usually just grab like 2 of the shades in here and put it on my lid and do it to go look really quick, which is fine. And it's good for when you're in a rush and you want to use some color, because the formula was pretty easy to blend and it wasn't difficult. It's just more because it has such limited colors, it's why it's getting ranked lower than the other palette, which I feel like has more colors. But I could incorporate with this, with the next palette I'm going to show you. So the next palette I have is the Lethal Cosmetics After Dark palette. So they send you stickers to put on the palette, because this was blank, and these are the stickers I chose to put on mine. But this is another pastel palette, and I actually like the fact that I feel like all these pastels show up on my skin tone pretty well now. Obviously, of course, I didn't touch the white shade at all, but I really like the color story of the palette overall, and I just feel like I get more inspired with this palette than with the Ethereal Blooms, because I feel like I can come up with more color combinations with this than I can come up with that. Plus, because there are more shades, I feel like I have a little bit more versatility with it, which is why this one is number 11 as opposed to number 12 like the Ethereal Blooms. But since it's springtime, I have been playing with both of these. I played with the Ethereal Blooms a little bit more than this one, because I was playing with this one right before spring started. So, but the quality of their palettes is really nice, and I'm interested to see what Lethal Cosmetics is going to come out with next. So after number 11 is number 10. We have the Mented Cosmetics Iceland Fire and Ice palette. So I know they got into trouble a little bit recently with the Shanghai palette. I don't own that palette. I wasn't intrigued by the color story, because all the mattes, a lot of them I feel like didn't necessarily work for my skin tone. And then I like the shimmery side, but I was like, I'm not going to pay like $48 or $58 or however much it costs just for like some shimmer. So I didn't get it, but y'all know I was getting this one. It has a cute little row of fire down the middle, then it has a cute little purple and green row. Then it has your darker outer V smoking tones to go with the red. So I see how the color story was put together, and I really appreciate it. I think this is a really nice palette. I've done, I think, like 3 or 4 looks with this palette, because I just thought it looked so nice. I want to do some more looks with it, but y'all see, as I'm ranking these palettes, I have quite a few to go through, and since I don't wear makeup every day, I'm hoping that will change soon. I have to, you know, go ahead and use it when I can, and do videos for you all when I can. So this is a gorgeous palette. I definitely want to use it more often. I want to put it in rotation more, and that's why it's at number 10, because those blues are calling my name. The green and purple in there were a nice touch, and then it has a nice little fiery row for when I'm in the mood to do a red fiery eye look, which is rare, but you know, it still exists. So number 9 is the Flight Club palette from Menagerie. Now, I just did a video on this for you all recently, and you should have a video coming next week with 3 looks, 1 palette, but I just did the one comparing this palette to the Violet palette for the people who already had the Violet palette, so that way if you wanted to get it, you could. This is what it looks like on the inside. I think this palette is gorgeous and stunning. As soon as I saw the color story of it, I was like, yes, I'm getting it. Even though I knew I had the violet palette, I didn't care. One thing I love is blues, purples, and greens. And what is this? A purple palette. So I had to have this purple palette. I already have like 3 other purple palettes, but who cares who's counting? It doesn't matter. This is gorgeous. These dual chromes in here are amazing. I like the fact that they added these couple of berry toned purple fuchsia-ish type shades, as opposed to just being all purples and like pastel purples, and then like deeper purples, and then those really dark wine grape purples. They gave me a little bit more variety and gave me a couple more mauve-ish type purples. So I appreciate that about this palette, and I love the formula of it, and I'm really feeling this palette. I'm hoping Menagerie comes out with another palette for the summer, because that would be awesome. So number 8 is the other Made by Mitchell palette I was telling you all about, which is the Feet on the Ground. So when you see the inside of this palette, I mean, based by the outside of the palette, I feel like you can tell what's going on the inside. But based on the inside of this palette, I feel like you all know why this one will be higher ranked as opposed to the first one that I showed you. So look at this color story. Like, this is definitely more my vibe. It has this cool pop of corally shade that you can put with some other shades. Like I did a look with this in the burgundy shade, which is going to be in the 3 Looks 1 palette. For this palette, I did, what else did I do? I think I used this and like this bright shimmery shade, and then like this shade right here, and made a look. So it's like this palette automatically inspires me to make looks, and I told you all as I was doing each look what I was going to do, because I was inspired by the color story and knew and had a good idea of what I wanted to do. Whereas with the other one, I told you all I had no idea what I was going to do. I was over here like, wait, what? What? I don't know. So this one I'm definitely feeling. I'm definitely here for it, and I will definitely be doing more looks with it, because I'm just inspired with it and love it, and the formula was really amazing. The only thing is the price on these is really high normally, so I would say wait for a sale, because it was $100 with those 2 palettes with shipping when I got done buying these. So to me that was quite high. So what number did I say that was? I said that was number 8. So number 7 is Playing in Makeup with Yolanda. This is the Jamrock No Limitations palette. This is the palette you all saw all week last week on Instagram, which is the looks that I did. It was this palette and another one from her. Matter of fact, where is that one? I don't think I'm going to rank that one this time, because I only did 2 looks with that one, and I've done like 4 or 5 with this one, which is why I got in the video this time. And I actually want to do a 3 Looks 1 palette with this on my Instagram, on my YouTube channel, just because I was so inspired and so in love with this palette. And when you see the inside, again, you'll know why. If you watch this channel enough, you know why. Look at this color story. Like, this color story is just so me. Like, look at all these grungy mattes in here. But then I still got a few bright colors to add to the grungy outer V tones. And then it has really nice buttery shimmers in here that feel like super shock shadows. Like, this palette is amazing. I know Colorful Camille had been talking about this brand for a while, and I had wanted to try them for a while. But I finally broke down and bought them because they had a 50% off sale, because the owner is moving from New York, her home, to Atlanta. So they had a moving sale, and that's when I went ahead and finally bought it. Because since releases are always coming out, and I know I have certain brands that you all like to watch, I usually go for those as opposed to newer things that I might want to try. But we're going to go ahead and give this a 3 Looks 1 palette coming soon. I really loved this palette and loved the eye looks that I got out of it, and that's why it ended up making its way into this little ranking at number 7. I said number 7, right? I'm sorry, that was number 6. So here we are with number 5. This is the Mented Cosmetics Blueprint palette. Now y'all know I love Melt, and I'm a Melt stan, so it's not 5 just because I don't like it. It's just more 5 for the color story, because at the end of the day, it's like I only have a few blues, and if I don't want to do a blue look, I don't have any other things that really inspire me to use, because it's just a bunch of basic browns and shimmers. So although I love the Blueprint palette and I love the formula of this, and I love the stack as well, it's just more of I like some other palettes a little bit more, because they have more of those grungy, colorful tones I showed you, just like the Playing in Makeup with Yolanda. So that's why this is where it is. It has nothing to do with the quality of this palette, because the quality is amazing. Matter of fact, the last ranking video I did, I had this palette on my eye, so you'll see it in that video when I remember to link it up above. But it just happened to land in number 5. So number 4 is going to be the Norn's palette from Untitled. So I got this recently. I did a video with it recently. I will try to remember to link it, but I'm going to try to link some of the lower ranked ones, like I said, so you can get an idea. But you can search my channel. I have the hashtag GLBeauty87 on everything. So if you're looking for anything from me, you can type in GLBeauty87, the hashtag on YouTube. You should be able to find me. Anyway, this is what this palette looks like on the inside. I love the dual chromes in here. I love the matte shades they chose in here. I love this palette overall. I think it's a really nice color story, and it actually pairs well with one of the palettes that you're going to see in a few minutes. So I will leave it to the side to show later on. Like, this is a dual chromey shifty shade that turns red in the inner corner, and I thought it looked so gorgeous with the look I did. I've actually done a palette mashup with this and another palette that's in the ranking, so because I think they work so well together. So I'll try to remember to leave those videos linked above. But this palette performs really nice. I really like Utenzi products, and I had someone tell me that they felt like a lot of brown people didn't buy from Utenzi and didn't do a video on him. So that's why I try to make sure I do videos on him, because I feel like she said, I don't see a lot of people my skin tone buying from Utenzi. I don't know if it's because they're a Swedish brand and they feel like their color stories might necessarily work for them. But Tina the Fancy Face has done videos on them. I don't know if she did a video on this. I know when I watched her haul video that she just did recently, she did a she had on the Utenzi Oliva 2 palette. Anyway, that was number 4. So number 3 is, okay y'all, so number 3 is the Be Perfect Cosmetics Carnival Love Tahiti palette with Stacey Marie. I had been looking to get this palette for a while just because everybody raved about the formula, and this was one of the color stories she came out with that I actually liked. You know, it's got my blues, my greens, my purples, and then on the off chance I do want to do a neutrally type look, I have colors to choose from. Well, not neutrally, but you know, this is the neutral one, and then I have like the brighter orangey red tones for the summertime when I do occasionally do looks like that. So this palette performs really amazingly. Everything Colorful Camille, aka KK, has said about this palette is true. The only thing that deterred me from getting this initially is the horror story that KK told when she finally got hers, about how she ordered it from their website. She paid the $20 for shipping, and then she had to email them and harass them about finally shipping the palette. And I think she said one of her friends didn't end up getting the palette at all after she had paid them for it. So they finally went 50% off with this palette. I told you all that in my last ranking video. So I ended up going to grab it and pick it up, and by the time I got it, they had a US retailer to ship it from, so it was under $10 for this to ship to me, and it was 50% off, so it was such a steal I couldn't pass it up. So I got it. I really like it. I want to do a 3 looks 1 palette with this palette, but let me know if you all are interested or not, because with all the color stories, I feel like I could just do 3 of my favorite color stories, or just pick like a blue-green look, do a purple look, and then give you all like an orangey reddish type look to use off this palette. I have done pictures with this palette when I first got it though on my Instagram page, so if you want to see like some looks with it, you can look there. Anyway, I think this is a gorgeous palette, and that's why I'm ranking it at number 3. The only reason it's at number 3 is because the purples in this palette actually didn't work that well for me, and we all know I'm a sucker for a purple eye look. I just showed you all the Flight palette, and I have like 3 other purple palettes at home. So I mean, the thing that deterred me from this palette was I mean, not deterred me, but the thing that I don't like about this palette, which ranked it lower, is the fact that the purples didn't perform as well as I thought they could. But otherwise, you know, like, it's a gorgeous palette. It's done everything I wanted it to, and it was a steal for the price, and I'm glad I had my hands on it. So, number 2, and I feel like you should expect this to be higher up just because of the color story of it, and the fact that it actually has dark mattes for my outer V in it. So I feel like you all already know I'm talking about the Club Nebula palette from Angie and Kaleidos. This palette is really nice, and the color story just speaks to my soul. It's just a gorgeous palette. This is what the inside of it looks like. And y'all know, first of all, look at all these dark mattes I have put on my outer V. Do you see the beautifulness of that alone? Then I have my row of purples and these gorgeous dual chromey shifty topper shades along with the buttery smooth metallics. Then I have my greens and my blues up here. And then when I want to do a warm tone look, I have this lovely shade right here that I can put this on the lid, put this in my inner corner, dust this over the top. So it's just, Angie just thought of everything, and this is an absolutely stunning palette. Plus I feel like her formula feels a little bit better than the normal formulas. Other palettes, like, to me, the formula in this feels more like the formula of the Astro Pink palette, whereas I feel like the Escape Pod doesn't feel like the same formula that this palette does. So she definitely did a great job on that. So finally, oh sorry, that Carnival was number 3. Angie, of course, is number 2. Now, number 1, I feel like you shouldn't be surprised by it, because at the end of the day, this is a luxury makeup channel. Despite me using a whole bunch of different palettes and a whole bunch of different products, I tend to like luxury and high-end expensive things. So with that being said, of course the Natasha Denona Circle Local palette is number 1. The funny thing is, when this first came out, I had tagged Dr. Ash in the picture that somebody had leaked, and she was like, yeah, I'm getting it. I'm thinking in my mind, like, I don't know if I am, because at first I was looking at it like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? I don't like the oranges in this palette, the way it performed. Like, I don't like this orange. I felt like it dusted away to nothing, and I didn't like the color on my skin tone. Then this orange is more of one of those shimmery satin, it's one of those satin shades, not the shimmers like some of these other ones in here that you see are reflective. So I didn't like that about it. Otherwise, I like the palette as a whole. I have not used this shade, so I can't speak on it, but I've literally used everything else in here, and I think it's a gorgeous palette. I've actually been pairing this with the Trio Chrome palette like my girl Dr. Ash and her makeup has, along with the video she just did today. She did a video talking about how she put this and Trio Chrome together, and when I first got it over that weekend, I was pairing the Trio Chrome shimmers with this palette, so I guess great minds think alike. Like I told her, I really love this palette. I think it's really nice, and I want to kind of pop out some of the shades in here, like those oranges I don't like, and put something else in. So I'm thinking about popping out some of the shades from the Tropic palette and replacing these two that I don't like in order to make it more of a palette for me, because everything else in it is fine. It's just I don't like the way those two oranges perform. And I know there's like a blue matte and like a purple matte in the Tropic palette that I could replace those with, that I think I would like a whole lot better. So I'll probably end up doing that and then kind of scoop the colors down, because I want that lighter lavender purple to be closer to these shades over here. There's more cotton candy vibe-esque ones, and then like put the blue over here somewhere. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna pop them out and do it, but I know I don't like those two shades for a fact, and I want them gone. And since I know these are magnetic pans I can pop out, I'm going to. But otherwise, this palette is amazing. I was very impressed with it, and at first I wasn't even gonna buy it at all. So that ends this ranking of all my palettes. Did you all enjoy it? Do you all agree with what I had to say? Or do you think I should rank them in another way? I did get the Midnight Sun from Pat Mcgrath. Finally, it was on sale on her website for like 88 bucks. So I finally broke down and bought it just to have it to add to my collection. So if you all want to see a video on it, let me know. If you don't, that's fine too, because I haven't opened it other than to make sure it wasn't damaged when it got here. I did do the video on the under eye powder, though. I'm actually having it on my eyes right now, and that video went up yesterday. The one that went up today is on the concealer I have on, which is the new Tarte Ultra Creamy Concealer. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one.